the only Benson Boone song I've ever heard is Beautiful Things. And by now, I think I've heard 30 different versions or performances of it. And it's an amazing song. The guy is a vocal acrobat as well as, a back-flipping genius. He's an incredible performer. I've never seen anybody like him, and he's going places, and he's already gone places. I'm about to enter into my second song experience with Benson Boone. Slow it down.
I never met you, but I wanted to invite you to the party, and you walked in.
He still's got that ping. It's not swallowed. I'm glad I'm doing the studio version because I really wanted to hear how he shapes.
Those green eyes, never stolen by nobody.
Yeah, you still hear that pingy sound. Stolen by nobody, it's there.
And they flicker to the future. For a moment I could picture. Then you touch me and I come back, and we're talking on the staircase about your big dreams on the big screens.
Yeah, it's really interesting. He's able to resonate back while still getting that very forward presence to his voice.
Out of Georgia now, you're lonely in this city, lying with me, and you're scared it's moving quickly. Oh, now you're crying, you're in pieces, cause the only love you've ever known is Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that I'm the reason that you're...
Let's talk about that breakup as he goes high, and it's just...
You're in pieces, cause the only love you've ever known is Jesus.
Beautiful rasp, one more time.
In pieces, cause the only love you've ever known is Jesus. I can feel it.
Let's break it down. Now, Benson would be the first to admit that he's just singing. He's just feeling it. He's not thinking about this stuff at all. But that doesn't mean we can't reverse engineer it and learn a thing or two about our own voice in the process. Just get the notes any way you can. The only love you've ever known is Jesus. The only love. Don't put any pressure on yourself to get them a certain way at this point. Just commit the notes to memory. The only love you've ever known is Jesus. Then play with it in lots of different ways to loosen up so you don't have this expectation of the standard, which is Benson Boone. We'll start adding some of his flavors in just a second by adding sensations to a loose, non-tied up voice. Now, we're going to take the beginning and we're going to add more energy to it. The only love, the only love, the only love. We're just going to get as loud as we can and belt that word love. The only love. Notice as I'm doing it, I'm bringing it more and more forward. That's kind of a whiny posture. The only love is very like shouted and forward and belted. Called the only love. Okay, I know that's not what he's doing, but we're going to approach it this way so that we can release into that high note instead of push for it. Then we can add the grit.
Pieces, 'cause the only love you've ever known is Jesus.
Now let's get rid of the notes entirely for a second. And we're going to speak like we placed when we were singing. But when we get to ever known, we're going to act like we're lifting something heavy with our voice. The only love you've ever known. It's like this kind of grunt, but we're still going to let some of the air through. The only love you've ever known is Jesus. The only love you've ever known is Jesus. It's like my desk is so heavy. The only love you've ever known is Jesus. The only love you've ever known. Okay. Now, get really heavy on love. And then I'm going to release lightly into ever known. But as I live in ever known, towards the end of those two words, I'm going to start acting like I'm lifting something heavy, even though I'm primarily in my head voice up there. The only love you've ever known is Jesus. It got weightier up there, but I started light. The only love you've ever known is Jesus. that lifting something heavy that's coming on the tail end of Ever Known is introducing a rasp over a lighter head voice note. That's why Benson sounds simultaneously lighter and brighter and grittier. And we can play with this even more. The only love you've ever known is Jesus. Oh yeah. The only love you've ever known is Jesus. Yeah. So, is this exactly how Benson learned how to do it? Probably not. He stumbled on it by being playful with his voice. And that's what we're doing here. So this is a way to be playful and start approaching these different types of placements and energies with your own voice.
You're in pieces, 'cause the only love you've ever known is Jesus. I can feel it. Oh, I hate it out. The reason that you're in your head right now. Ooh, ooh. While your world is spinning out.
Beautiful use of head voice there.
That you're in your head right now.
The end of the now was in head voice. Right now, now, now. As he went into his vibrato, that's pretty cool because that's low. He releases into his vibrato by triggering a very low head voice.
And that you're in your head right now. While your world is spinning out.
Notice he didn't try to hide his break. He just went right up there. Spinning out. That's difficult to do. You're building up the breath pressure and then releasing into your head voice. Beautiful.
While your world is spinning out. So slow it down.
Yeah.
Take a moment now. We're too young to drown. Deep and dirty waters full of hope is down. Let me pull you out. Let me hold you now. Let me slow it down. Ain't it
That's really cool. The way that's produced and the way it's performed. Listening again.
take a moment now. We're too young to drown. Deep and dirty waters full of hope is down. Let me pull you out. Let me hold you now.
There's two things going on here. With those head voicey notes, he's singing those notes in a sort of pure, more chord closure focused way.
Let me pull you out.
Pour you out, pour you out. Notice there's not the over that. But then they're going back in, and very carefully he's doubling himself with pour you out, pour you out. And you can hear that in the stereo image if you listen really closely. There's two, maybe more subtle whisper tracks going on. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm hearing.
Young to drown. Deep and dirty waters full of hope is down. Let me pull you out.
But he's doing a good job, I think, of adding the rasp in the track itself, in the main line itself.
Hope is down.
Hope, hope is down, hope is...
Let me pull you out. Let me hold you.
Let me... It's beautiful, beautiful tone. Part of being able to get there with your own voice is to sigh into it with an H. Let me...
No, let me slow it down. Ain't it funny how it changes, how the future rearranges? I get nervous, oh I'm anxious.
His voice is super fun to nerd out over, by the way.
Maybe loving you is dangerous. I could lose you like the others. Only girl that's never let me is my mother. Oh, I love her.
Mother! Heating it up there on the... Again, it's about going lighter first. Mother! 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 If you just try to push up to it, you don't get that playful, free, gritty, thinner sound.
And I know you probably hate it, but I'm in my head right now.
Beautiful.
So slow it down. Take a moment.
moment now. He's got the lower octave there with the slow it down.
We're too young to drown. Deep and dirty waters full of hope and stout. Let me pour you out. Let me hold you now.
And his approach is super cool because we've got these head voice notes that make up the substance of the melody, but then in the same range, he's got his upper chest or lower mix going on here. And it's a wonderful way to phrase the melody. Keeps you chill most of the time and then really gets into it in certain areas. Anything but plowing. Wonderful melodic arcs over each line.
Let me pour you out. Let me hold you now. Let me slow it down when you're on the ground.
So even there, he's doing the same thing. Really bringing the slow when it's cleaner and beltier. Slow it down. Bringing the placement slightly back and then compressing into it. That lifting something heavy. But as he goes into down, there's a small section right before you hear the grit where he backs off just a bit as he's moving his placement from this forward belt to this further back. Slow it down! Down!
Slow it down
You can hear how husky slow is versus down.
when you're on the ground and you're crying. I'm trying to slow it down when you're spinning round in your head.
Yes, it's got that Robert Plant sort of vibe to it, but in a completely different context. It's so cool. Let's go back and listen to how he treats us with some of that falsetto in the midst of this energy.
Slow it down when you're on the ground and you're crying. I'm trying to
Crying! This is really difficult to do, but a fun exercise if you ever want to try it. Really lean into a note that is higher and, compress into it, get a little bit of gritty, belt it, and then as you're going down, go into head voice. And, of course, he's triggering his vibrato with his head voice there, too. But before you really try to nail the transition, exploit the transition so you're not afraid of it. Crying! Notice how I just let my voice flip. Crying! Trying! Trying! Crying! Crying! Once you're not afraid of your break anymore, it's easier to blend it. It's all about being playful and free. Crying! There, now it's coming much more naturally since I released into the, it's okay if I break.
I'm trying to slow it down when you're spinning round in your head.
And those Queen-like harmonies behind that note.
When you're spinning round in your head.
I just love his tone over that. I could listen to notes like that all day.
You're spinning round in your head.
Sliding around so wonderfully.
Down when you're spinning round in your head.
Yeah. When I first discovered Chris Cornell, who's one of my favorite singers, there's a little bit of that going on right here. But I remember Chris Cornell's a singer from Soundgarden, a 90s band. And I remember doing this, of course, before I made videos about songs at all. I remember listening to certain notes and I would let it go and then I would rewind and then I would listen again and rewind and listen again, rewind, listen. This is on CD or cassette even. And I just love certain textures and timbres that vocalists get. And with this type of technique in this range, it just does something to me. These kind of notes with the angst yet freedom they display, it speaks to how I feel a lot of the time. I think that's why it's such a wonderful sound. It's like a vibration in me that speaks to an emotion that I carry with me a lot, which is that like slightly anxious yet just looking for the right opportunity to give up that anxiety and soar. And that's what I feel when I listen to notes like this. Love how he closes that note too. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I'll help you slow it down.
Beautiful. Oh man.
I'll help you slow it down.
Seamless transition into his head voice from this sort of yawned posture.
Help you slow it down.
Sorry, one more nuance that's just so cool. Notice how he lingers after he closes on the N. Another nuance that helps you understand why we love the various characters that he brings out in his voice.
Help you slow it down.
It's not down. It's down. And he holds it there. He closes it and lets it resonate and vibrate in his face. And you see that even on his face, even though he's miming this for the music video. He feels the vibrations and is one with those vibrations. What a fantastic vocalist.
You slow it down.
It's interesting how taking extreme cartoonish voice acting postures can help you get in the vicinity of someone like Benson Boone. Not because he sounds like a cartoon character, but because the freedom that comes from just sort of being silly and goofy with your voice, it lends itself to discovering musical ways to interact with your voice. That's why I love Benson Boone's voice so much, and it's so fun to experiment with in my own voice. Even though I stumble and poorly represent what he's doing, I'm inspired to keep trying things with my voice. If you'd like me to help you do the same with your voice for your own enjoyment and for your own self-discovery process, if you'd like help doing this, click the link below in the pinned comment or video description and join my free singing course. I'll help you pull things out of your voice through playfulness and non-judgmentalism that you never knew were there. Also, be sure to check out this playlist with more videos you might like, some of them related to Benson Boone.